Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing about the interview questions which was asked to me in Walmart for SDE3 position. We'll be discussing what was the pattern of the interview, what were the questions asked in each of these rounds, and what was the overall learning from this interview process. They were hiring for backend developer for Java as a tech stack, and there were total three rounds. The first round was DSA round, the second round was Java concepts and LLD, and the third was hiring manager round. So Walmart conducts these interview in single day itself. First round happens in the second in the morning itself, Java concepts in afternoon, and then the hiring manager round. So, starting with the round one, so they started off asking me like basic thing like introduce yourself, what are the project you are working on, and how many of experience you have. So some basic stuff they asked. Then they started asking me what is that you are building currently in your organization. So basically they were trying to understand whether I knew the business aspect or I was just into the coding thing, right? So as a developer, I knew what I'm building, what I'm contributing to my company or not. So yeah, and then they asked me like whether I knew about the existing flows or existing architecture on which I'm contributing or not. So there were a lot of questions in between. Why are you using this technology? For example, I told I use Kafka, so he told me why Kafka, why not some synchronous mechanism for communication between the microservices. So all those questions were coming up, so I was pretty much able to answer it. So he was satisfied with it. So he further went on to next question, like what are the data structures you know about? So I told him about from arrays till tree, and it was at tree he stopped me and questioned me like what is stack, what is queue, and what are the difference between the two of them. So I told them what I knew, like one is LIFO, the other is FIFO, and the basic functionality level differences. So yeah, after that he asked me like do you know the real time use case of double linked list? So at that point of time it did not hit me directly. So he himself told me that in the browser we have move forward, move backward button. So that is the real-time use case of double linked list. Then he asked me to implement stack functionalities using queues. It had to be a running implementation. So I did it. So he was satisfied with that. Then he further told me like if you know tree data structure. So I told him yes, and he told me whether you know recursion or not. So I told him yes, I know recursion. So he told me to give me the height of. He gave me a tree sample tree example, and he told me to get the height of height of this tree. So he gave me very few minutes to do this. Reason being, it is one of the most foundational classic questions of data structure in tree. So he told me to just wrap it up in within few minutes itself. Then he asked me this longest palindrome. He told me take 7 to 10 minutes on thinking on this question. So he told me to think and then explain it to him. Since this was the question which I was familiar since I had practiced this on lead code, so he told me. So I was quickly able to tell I started off first with the brute force approach. I thought that if he told me some to do optimizations, then I'll tell him about the optimized approach. So I told him the brute force approach. He was satisfied. He asked me to run through a few of the test cases. It passed. So he was satisfied with it. And yeah, that was all in the entire round one. Um, I'll start off with round two and hiring manager round in next part. Thank you.